Fellas, let me tell you something that's going to mess with your head before it sets you free. You were never the problem. You were just too aware, too emotionally grounded, too mentally sharp, too hard to manipulate. And in today's dating world, that makes you dangerous. Not to women in general, but to the game they play. Let's stop pretending. Modern dating isn't about love anymore. It's about leverage. It's about control. And for women who've grown up learning how to manipulate attention, validation, and commitment, it's all about how easy you are to steer. But when you don't chase, when you don't simp, when you see through the BS, you become a threat, not a bad man, a man they can't toy with. So they leave, ghost you, say you're too much, or my personal favorite, you're emotionally unavailable. Nah, bruh, you're just not easily fooled. Let's break it all the way down. Point 1. She wanted control, not connection. Most guys think when a woman walks away, it's because he lacks something. Confidence, money, looks, game. But the truth? She left because she couldn't control the narrative. If you weren't jumping through hoops, blowing up her phone, or simping for attention, she felt powerless. She didn't want a relationship. She wanted a puppet. And the second you said, nah, I don't play like that, she bounced. She needed a man who would orbit her, not challenge her. You weren't the problem. You were just too centered to fall for her performance. Point 2. Your awareness threatened her illusion. Most women live in delusion, not reality. They believe they can post thirst traps and still expect respect. They believe they can date bad boys in their prime and still find a husband at 38. They believe that just vibing is the same thing as commitment. But when you ask real questions, what do you bring to the table? Why do you think I owe you a relationship after one date? What do you want long term? She panics because you're not playing along. You're breaking the illusion. You weren't the problem. You were the mirror. And she couldn't stand seeing her reflection. Point 3. You weren't a beta backup, so she cut you loose. Here's a dirty truth. Most women keep backups. Not boyfriends. Not friends. Backups. You know, the just-in-case guy. The emotional support pillow. The dude she says we're just friends about, but keeps around for attention, favors, and fallback security. But when you set boundaries and say, I'm not going to be your emotional support pet while you chase other men, she'll flip the script. You're too intense. I'm not ready for anything serious. I think we should just be friends. Translation. You don't let me use you, so I'm moving on. You weren't the problem. You just had self-respect. Point 4. You called out the inconsistencies. You ever notice how women say one thing but do another? I want a nice guy. Then sleeps with a toxic one. I want something real. Then disappears after the third date. I'm not like other girls. But acts exactly like other girls. When you point this out, you get labeled judgmental or toxic, because modern women have been taught that their contradictions are off limits. If you highlight them, you're attacking. If you ignore them, you're supportive. And if you leave because of them, you're not man enough. Nah, King, you weren't the problem. You just refused to play dumb. Point 5. You didn't validate her ego. A lot of women today don't want men. They want fans. They want to post thirst traps and see the fire emojis. They want to talk about their ex and have you comfort them. They want you to praise their beauty, intelligence, and independence on demand. But the second you stop clapping, the second you stop validating, you become cold or emotionally unavailable. No, bro, you're just done performing. She wasn't looking for a partner. She was looking for a cheerleader. And you're not that. You weren't the problem. You just stopped feeding her ego. Point 6. You saw through her feminine energy show. They'll put on the soft voice, the sweet look, the I just want something serious act. But it's all a performance if it's not backed by action. You saw the mask. And when she realized she couldn't fool you with softness and giggles, she bailed. Because what she really wanted was a man who couldn't tell the difference between a woman pretending to be feminine and one who actually is. You weren't the problem. You just read the script before the show even started. Point 7. Your piece wasn't for sale. This one hits deep. Most of you men watching this, You've been through hell with women. You've been manipulated, cheated on, friend-zoned, lied to, emotionally drained. So now, you protect your peace. You move slower. You don't chase chaos. You question red flags. And to a woman who thrives on emotional turbulence, you're boring. That's right. To her, your peace is boring. Because it's not chaos. Because she can't provoke you. Because you're stable. And she doesn't know how to exist without drama. But don't change that. Don't dim your light. You weren't the problem. You just weren't entertaining enough for someone addicted to dysfunction. So if you've ever been ghosted, dumped, disrespected, or shamed for not playing along, let me say it again. You were never the problem. You were just too awake, too grounded, too clear-headed to fall for the games. And that is terrifying to a woman who thrives in confusion. Don't shrink yourself to make her feel powerful. Don't play dumb to make her feel smart. And don't settle for crumbs just to feel wanted. You're not broken. You're not crazy. You're just awake in a world that profits from your blindness. Call to action with strong emotion. If this hit you hard, if this spoke the truth you couldn't put into words, then subscribe to this channel right now. Like the video. Comment with your story, because there are men out here who need to see they're not alone. And share this with your brothers, your friends, your sons, any man who's been made to feel like he was a problem, when in truth, he was just too aware to manipulate. This is Woman Unmasked, and we're not done speaking truth.